Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we're actually filming on my camera today, mainly because my phone's actually ran out of storage, and also because I film a lot of vlogs nowadays and my camera has got so much sellotape on it from where it's broken I don't trust carrying it around with me. But I thought I'd film my camera today, so although it is 4:30, so the lighting is kind of very bad. But you know what, it's not about the lighting, it's about the books. So today I'm going to be showing you all the books I've read this month in February. I've got a fair few here to show you, so I'm just going to be going through them all. I'm going to give you a little brief summary, my rating and my favourite quotes from them. So let's crack straight on. Okay, so the first book that I read this month was All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I'm not entirely sure. Two of the books out of the 5 this month I would say to read the trigger warnings, this being one of them. It is heavily based around suicide and death, so I would just read up on the trigger warnings that if you think that's something that might trigger you. But this fun fact was actually part of Zoe Suggs book club back in the day, but it's surrounding two characters, Theodore Finch and Violet Markey. So the book starts off with Theodore wanting to take his own life and Violet being absolutely devastated by her sister's death because her sister recently died, and they both meet on the top of the school's bell tower and they kind of help each other down, and then they start this kind of friendship relationship and help each other but also not help each other in some ways, I suppose. But it is a very deep raw story. My mum got me this for Christmas because she wanted us to watch the film together, but we actually read we watched 5 Feet Apart during lockdown, and that film absolutely ripped my heart out. I was feeling sad for days, so she was like, Charlie, this film's meant to be really sad, I'll give you a warning, read the book first so you know what's going to happen, which I did. Also, the film has got Elle Fanning in it, who is the Pandora fan cast in the Marauders era, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm very much excited to watch it. But yes, it is a very touching book, and I love it as well because it's got dual POVs, because it's got Theodore's POV and Violet's POV, which is great. I gave this book a 4 stars, and here are some of my favourite. Oh my god, my camera's gonna run out of battery. Ah! You know what? I'll do the ratings, I'll do the quotes, and then I'll put you in charge for a minute. The thing I realise is that it's not what you take, it's what you leave. We do not remember days, we remember moments. The great thing about this life of ours is that you can be someone different to everybody. I love this one. You make me lovely, and it's so lovely to be lovely to the one I love. I love that one. Yeah, I've been in every way all that anyone could be. If anyone could have saved me, it would have been you. I do my best thinking at night when everyone else is sleeping. No interruptions, no noise. I like the feeling of being awake when no one else is. I am on the highest branch. We are written in paint. I believe in signs. The glow of ultraviolet, a lake, a prayer. It's so lovely to be lovely and private. Stars in the sky, stars on the ground. It's hard to tell where the sky ends and the earth begins. I feel the need to say something grand and poetic, but the only thing I come up with is, it's lovely. Okay, that's some of my favourite quotes. There are many more. This book is really full of quotes. Another great thing is that in the back of this book there is helplines to call for UK numbers, Australia, New Zealand and South Africa numbers, which is great. So yes. Okay, I'm back. I just had to run outside because it started raining and there's washing on the line, so I had to run outside and rescue it. Also, I couldn't remember how zoomed in we were before, so it might have changed. Also, we're blurry, but it's fine. So, next book is Girl in Pieces. As you can tell from the title and the look of this book, please read the trigger warnings first. This book does start off in a hospital, so it kind of cuts straight into the triggering stuff. So yeah, just read the trigger warnings, please. But this I rated a 4 stars, I believe. Was it 4 stars? Yes, 4 stars I rated this. So this book centres around a girl called Charlotte Davies. She's 17 and the book starts off with her in a hospital, and it's kind of about her story of, she does get out of the hospital rather quickly into the book, but it's kind of about her journey afterwards, and I think it's kind of about how people expect you to get out of the hospital and be completely fine, and that you're fully healed, you're fully cured, but that's not how it works. still got a long way to go. She still has ups and downs. She still has to find her way back, and this time I managed to run out of storage. And yeah, it's about her life after being in this hospital, and her life and how she kind of has to start all over again because she doesn't have the support of her family. She moves to a completely new area where she knows no one. It's a fresh start, but also it's hard to have a fresh start. And she meets people who are good for her, meets people who are bad for her. In the end, she will be okay. I won't read any quotes from this because all of my favourite quotes are a little bit triggering, so I won't read any of those. My next book this month was The Clockwork Girl by Anna Mazzola. I gave this book 3.75 stars, and it was really actually quite interesting. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. Kind of from the front you see a girl in a ball gown, you see this fancy hall, you kind of think it's going to be like all princessy, but it's not. It's not, guys. It wasn't until I looked into the cover deeply that you do actually see like cogs and skulls and stuff. So this book was set in 1750 Paris, and it's about a girl called Madeline who is, or Madeline, I'd never know. She starts working as a chambermaid for a clockmaker and looks after his daughter. So the reason why she gets this job is because she is working as a spy for the police to help them kind of see what this clockmaker is about, because he's making very, very odd things that normal clockmakers do not make. And while this is all going on, children are vanishing from the streets, and there's no reason for it. There's so many conspiracy theories, but no one knows the exact reason, and the police don't seem to be finding out. One thing I actually love about this book is that at the very end there's a historical note, and it actually talks about how the vanishing children of Paris in 1750 is very much true, but it's just slightly different because children began to go missing off these streets. Some thought the children were being sent off to wars or colonies. Some people thought the police were using them for ransom money. Or people believed that the prince I think it was the prince at the time, wanted their blood because they had pure blood because they were children. But it actually turns out the real reason for the vanishing of these children was because it'd been directed that, this is the exact wording, all beggars and vagrants found in the streets of Paris of whatever age or sex shall be arrested and taken to prison, there to be detained for as long as shall be deemed necessary. And the lieutenant general who was in charge of that enforced it a little bit too harshly, and he would just take children who were running errands or playing on the streets, would put them in carriages and cart them off. So yeah, this is very much real, but just in a different kind of way they've written it, but the vanishing children were very much real. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting book, and there's a whole lot of world building behind it, and storytelling, and POV switches as well, which, as you know, I love. And this book got me back into fantasy again, because fantasy is now my current obsession, because I love fantasy, and I kind of go through phases of only wanting to read fantasy, and this book has put me back into an only wanting to read fantasy phase, so I thank the book. The next book that I read was An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. First of all, it's a floppy book. I love floppy books. That already had a win in my eyes. I love the cover. It's got this kind of like sheen to it, and I rated this book a 4.25 stars. I read this in about 3 days. I think it was either 2 or 3 days I read this in, so I read it very fast. Because it was one of those books you just didn't want to put down, you didn't get bored of, you just wanted to keep turning the pages. So 100% recommend. So this book is kind of like enemies to lovers, I would kind of say. It's quite a fast-paced book, obviously, because it is only a couple of 100 pages. How long is it? Yeah, like 300 pages, so it is reasonably fast-paced, but it's enemies to lovers, and it's kind of to do with humans and immortal fair folk, which I love. So Isabel, who is the main character, she is a portrait artist, but she makes portraits for the immortal fair folk. Hello. So Isabel receives her first royal client, and that is Rook the Autumn Prince, and they get on really, really well, and she actually develops a crush on him. But she makes a mistake, and, well, not a mistake, but she paints a human emotion in his eyes. She paints sorrow in his eyes. Now, fair folk are not supposed to feel human emotions, so that's why I say mistake, because it was a very detrimental thing. and Rook is furious. Rook is absolutely furious. He comes to her house, he takes her away because he wants her to have a trial. He wants her to stand for a trial for her crime. So he takes her through this forest, but while he is dragging her along with him, something seriously amiss happens and they are attacked, meaning that they have to stay together and they have to work together in order to survive, which can you see where the lovers part is coming in. So yeah, it says their alliance blooms into trust, perhaps even love, and again this is forbidden between humans and fair folk, and fair folk don't typically feel love anyway, and it could mean that both of their lives are in serious jeopardy. They end up going to stay at a different fairy court, the spring fairy court, and everyone is super welcoming and kind and super interested in Isabel because she's a human, but there is something amiss. There is something a little bit not quite right, and yeah, such a missing book. I really want to read more from this author, and I just overall really enjoyed it. So some quotes from this book. Why do we desire above all other things that which has the greatest power to destroy us? The ability to feel is a strength, not a weakness. Okay, now if you don't want to hear the grand love declaration, please skip, but this had me kicking my feet, giggling. Isabel, I love you wholly. I love you eternally. I love you so dearly it frightens me. I fear I could not live without you. I could see your face every morning upon waking for 1,000 years and still look forward to the next as though it were the first. I read that so many times when I first read this book. Love it. You are like a living rose among wax flowers. We may last forever, but you bloom brighter and smell sweeter and draw blood with your thorns. This book is very, very sweet and I very much enjoyed it. Okay, now the final book I'm actually not going to be able to tell you too much about because I am only this way through it, so I'll be talking about it in next month's book roundup, but I thought I'd just mention it anyway. I'm reading These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling, and it is a LGBTQ book which I love. It's about witches, which I love, and it's very, very good so far, but like I said, I'm only this way through, so I can't tell you much more than I'm enjoying it so far. So it will be in next month's what I read that month roundup, book roundup, I don't know. But thank you all so much for joining. As I said earlier, I apologise for the lighting. It's now 5:10, so it is rather dark out, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit a thumbs up, and I will see you soon for another one. Bye.